The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, has labeled the Chinese telecommunications company Huawei a national security threat. It has banned U.S. companies from using subsidies to buy Huawei's equipment because new findings revealed that the company might actually be spying on nations and their citizens for China. Is any of this true? And why did the company get banned the first time? You'll get all the answers here, but before we get started, please take a moment to click that thumbs up button and the subscribe button to help me create more enlightening videos like this. For those unfamiliar with the Chinese company, this is the truth. Huawei is the world's largest provider of telecommunications equipment, networking gear, and smartphones. Statistically, Huawei is the largest cell phone manufacturer in the world, not Apple. So how could a company with so much impact get banned? Well, the U.S. administration thinks they are an unacceptable risk to their national security. The United States Federal Communications Commission, FCC, announced that it had adopted the final rules, which prohibit the sale or import of equipment manufactured in China by the surveillance equipment manufacturer, Huawei Technology, the video surveillance equipment manufacturer, Hangzhou Hikvision Digital Technology, and the telecommunications equipment manufacturer, Hytera Communications Corporation. This action represents the latest crackdown on Chinese tech giants by the United States government, which is motivated by concerns that Beijing may use those companies to spy on Americans using those companies. This was an egregious attempt by the PRC intelligence officers to shield a PRC-based company from accountability, Garland said. These new rules are an important part of our ongoing actions to protect the American people from national security threats involving telecommunications, the FCC chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel said in a statement. When asked to comment on that, Huawei declined. Hikvision, another company the U.S. is banning for the same reason, said in a statement that their products do not threaten U.S. security. This decision by the FCC will do nothing to protect U.S. national security, but will do a great deal to make it more harmful and more expensive for U.S. small businesses, local authorities, school districts, and individual consumers to protect themselves, their homes, businesses, and property, Hikvision said. It said the firm would continue to serve U.S. customers in full compliance with U.S. regulations. As for who had the biggest hand in the Huawei ban, that honor belongs to Donald Trump. While he was president, Donald Trump flexed his power, and one of the ways he did that was to fight China and its unfair trade practices, as he liked to call them. This began the still ongoing U.S.-China trade war. Despite the fact that the trade war is primarily about politics, tariffs, and international law, the theft of intellectual property is also connected, and because Huawei is known to be a serial infringer when it comes to the theft of intellectual property, Trump got exactly what he needed to go after the company. So what did he do? On May 15, 2019, an executive order was issued by President Trump that prohibits the use of telecommunications equipment manufactured by foreign companies that are deemed to pose a threat to the nation's security. The actual order does not specifically mention Huawei, or even China for that matter. Despite this, the United States Department of Commerce had compiled what it refers to as an entity list in connection with the order, including Huawei. Since the order did not mention Huawei by name, the impact that it would have on the company and the various areas in which it operates was not entirely clear. The order appeared primarily directed towards Huawei's telecom operations, which would mean its wireless networking equipment, particularly those related to 5G. In a statement issued to Android Authority, Huawei provided the following response to the order. Restricting Huawei from doing business in the U.S. will not make the U.S. more secure or stronger. Instead, this will only serve to limit the U.S. to inferior yet more expensive alternatives, leaving the U.S. lagging behind in 5G deployment. The next ban that came for Huawei was the Google ban. This ban was serious because it meant Huawei would no longer have access to the fundamentals of Android smartphones. Gmail, YouTube, Google Drive, and even the Google Play Store would no longer be available for Huawei to use on their new products. The announcement caused a tremor throughout the world of technology. It's important to remember that Huawei is currently the world's second largest smartphone manufacturer, and that each one of its phones uses Android as its operating system. Millions of Huawei smartphone owners rightfully so, were understandably concerned that their devices might suddenly stop functioning properly if they were unable to access Google's App Store. Even though it's possible that the newly released Huawei products won't work, additional reports have shown that the company's phones that were certified by Google and were released before May 15, 2019, will continue to function as expected. However, after that date, the Google app would no longer be pre-installed on any Huawei phones, tablets, or other products that were not Google certified. This includes both Android and iOS devices. After Google's ban on Huawei, other companies followed. Qualcomm, Intel, ARM, and Microsoft, amongst many others, also boycotted Huawei. Because of the ban's effect on the company, Huawei U.S. Business Relations declared the company's intention to challenge Trump's executive order. In no time, the company submitted a legal motion that argued the prohibition violated the Constitution. Later in June 2019, legal action was taken against the United States Department of Commerce. It is interesting to note that companies based in the United States came out in support of Huawei while simultaneously severing commercial ties with the country. Even Google has stated that it would be interested in continuing to collaborate with Huawei if given a chance. Ericsson, Huawei's competitor in the telecom industry, also voiced opposition to the ban. Unfortunately, the support and all the legal maneuvers by the Chinese telecommunication company did not result in anything. Huawei got the ban and shortly after reported a 32% slump in sales for the first 9 months of 2021, deepening a 29.4% decline in the first half. Eric Xu, the rotating chairman of Huawei, stated in September that the company has learned to live with the fact that U.S. sanctions are causing losses to its smartphone business, at least $30 billion US annually. In the months that passed, something strange happened. Huawei Technologies company teased American consumers with a 100% off Black Friday discount on its phones in the US. Black Friday special? 100% off all phones we currently sell in the US, the US branch of the Shenzhen-based company said in a Twitter post. Naturally, people went crazy about the tweet and it went viral. They thought the US had removed the ban. After the tweet had collected thousands of likes, retweets, and comments, Huawei USA tweeted again that the offer was just a joke because we can't sell anything in the USA, adding 3 loudly crying face emojis. I'm not even angry, that was not a bad joke, and to tell a joke while you've lost billions of dollars says a lot about the company's identity. In more recent news, after President Joe Biden was signed in as POTUS, several people expected that he would allow Huawei to return to the regular way. Unfortunately for Huawei, the opposite was the case. President Biden instead signed a law that will stop companies like Huawei Technologies from getting new equipment licenses from U.S. regulators if they are seen as security threats. On October 28th, the United States Senate voted unanimously to approve the Secure Equipment Act, which the House of Representatives had already approved by a vote of 420 to 4. It's safe to assume that Huawei isn't returning to its old way of doing things soon. One can only hope they continue to strive and thrive under these new conditions in the United States. But what do you think of the ban on Huawei? Could the company really be a spy for China? Leave a comment, I want to know what you think. Before you leave, please click that thumbs up button and subscribe button to join this family. Until next time.